Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the best budget stat stick for status pseudo exalts if you don't want to deal with ribbons. What is it? This is Dorrclave, the blade and whip that arrived with Daggett a few months ago. Why is it the best budget stat stick? The top meta stat sticks are Incarnon weapons, which requires Zeramin access to install the Genesis adapters, which requires farming Steel Path Circuit, and having the New War completion, which requires Sacrifice completion, and all the other quests related yada yada, you get the point. What is the Dorrclave locked behind? Well, first, it can be purchased in the market for Platinum, unlike the Incarnon melees, and 2, you can start farming Dorrclave as soon as you have access to the factions, syndicates, and series, since reaching rank 2 with any of them adds Abyssal Beacons to their shops for 5,000 reputation, which can be used at the Abyssal Zones on series for farming Vainthorns. So why is Dorrclave so useful? This weapon has a unique passive. After 10 kills or assists with this weapon, you get the Rising Vendetta buff. It grants 0.5 bonus follow-through and flat plus 100% status for the next 10 attacks. The follow-through I don't really care about today. However, the plus 100% flat status carries over to Pseudo Exalts. In fact, Pseudo Exalts don't even consume any of the 10 stacks, except the unique Rumbled Rock-throwing augment on Atlas, but the Rumbled augment kills can also proc Rising Vendetta again, so that doesn't matter. This does not work on Savagot's Shadow and is not useful for raw damage Pseudo Exalt builds. Why did I mention Savagot's Shadow? Because melee influence does still work for his claws. I keep having people ask over the past couple of weeks, and I tested it yesterday and can confirm it still works. Anyways, which frames is Dorrclave good for? Khora, Gara, and Atlas, all for different reasons. And in the case of Atlas, for 2 separate reasons. This mainly has to do with the innate stats of our pseudo-exalted abilities. Reminder that this entire discussion revolves around status DPS builds. Ashe's Bladestorm does not benefit from this, and Excalibur slash Dash already force procs slash. So let's go in order of each frame. Khora's Whip has base 25% status chance. With Weeping Wounds, it reaches 135 at 12 times combo. Dorrclave grants a flat plus 100%, pushing us to 235%. This is useful because it means we get 1.74 times more slash procs at 12 times combo, resulting in both more damage but also more slash proc consistency. Khora really only needs 1 slash proc to kill, but her Whipclaw is split evenly between IPS before mods, meaning more status equals higher chance of getting a single slash proc to appear. This also means that at 1 times combo, even before Weeping Wounds stacks, you already have 125% status. Dorrclave's passives doesn't go down until you actually burn stacks by swinging the melee or fully die. Even Last Gasp doesn't do anything to it. This stat stick is super basic. You built the exact same as a normal Khora stat stick in the literal sense, going the hybrid crit and status route since she has a usable base 25% crit and status. Base damage is most important, followed by critical damage. Obviously that requires crit chance brought along. This build sits at 217.5% crit chance and 135% status at 12 times combo, with no other bells and whistles anywhere else on your loadout, with Dorrclave's passive boosting it up to 235% status. Even at 1 times combo, this build still has 80% crit and 125% status, assuming Dorrclave's passive is active. We run Buzzkill for higher slash weight, as Whipclaw is by default split 33% impact, puncture, and slash each. Buzzkill swings this to 52.3% slash weight, and at 12 times combo with 235% status, this averages 1.23 slash procs per hit per enemy. Use this on whatever Khora DPS build you wish, as showing frame builds is not the point of this video, but this Dorrclave tech is compatible with all Khora setups, and this is what I used as a reference on a generic like it's Hunt Khora so I can demonstrate Whipclaw to even begin with. Next one is Gara. She has base 0% crit and status on her Shattered Lash. I've covered many times in the past on how to DPS with Shattered Lash only, showcasing the strengths of Ceramic Dagger. I mentioned how Mark 1 Bow and Incarnon would be the best choice, letting her reach 100% crit and status at the same time for most consistent and best one-shot bleeds. But if you can't get the Incarnon melees, Dorrclave works perfectly fine for Slash. Shattered Lash is pure slash on the arc swing, and Dorrclave grants plus 100% flat status, proccing slash on every hit. More importantly, Shattered Lash does not build combo on hits, unlike Khora's Whip or Atlas's punches. Therefore, even if you sit at 1x combo for spamming Shattered Lash, you will still always have 100% status, with 100% slash weight, so long as you got 10 kills with Dorrclave first. Remember that this ability has 0 crit in status. Without using Incarnon melees that boost the innate crit stats, crit chance mods are entirely useless on the Gara stat stick. However, Arcane Avenger allows you to build for and benefit from critical damage stats. I would strongly recommend using Shattered Lash DPS only with Arcane Avenger, since there are not that many mods that affect it if you exclude crits. Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds are useless since we're not using Incarnon melee perks to boost the innate 0% crit and status. Because the Arc Swing variant is base 100% slash, you do not need to add any slash mods to boost slash weight. Unlike Khora's Whip, hitting enemies with Shattered Lash does not build melee combo and does not refresh the combo timer. Hence, I would recommend slotting attack speed, range, and still Weeping Wounds to make it easier for Dorrclave to land the initial 10 kills. Also, bring Dexterity Arcanes. Being a 100% slash melee, Relentless combination also helps Dorrclave reach 220 combo much faster. If you're using the Invisible Gara variant I originally showcased a couple months ago, you can include melee Retaliation. You would also benefit from stealth multipliers while maintaining shields. At max rank, it will grant plus 120% base damage with full overshields on Gara, but the build I'm using today, it gets plus 240% base damage instead due to primed redirection. This is roughly 1.66 times total damage increase. Be sure to bring a pistol with 2 Augur mods so you can stack overshields faster from Shattered Lash spam. I want to clarify I was incorrect in my most recent Gara video discussing slash mods, as for some reason they were increasing my slash ticks during testing in Simulacrum. Against my better knowledge, because I know that slash mods should not be increasing the damage of slash ticks, I trusted the unusual findings included in the Gara showcase, so you can freely skip all slash mods shown in the previous video, unless you're intending on making a viral slash variant, which I would not recommend doing. The Gara build I used for this video looked like this. It is a tweaked variant of my most recent Gara showcase from 3 months ago. Otherwise, it plays the exact same, except with a Dorrclave and depends on a Hira's Kubro to keep you invisible. For a full breakdown on that Gara setup, which was done with a ceramic dagger and explaining Mark 1 bow incarnons, check out my video at the top right. Then you have Atlas. Now, this is a weird one because Atlas has 2 ways to use Dorrclave. It can be used for Landslide, a typical Pseudo Exalt similar to Khora's Whip and Gara's Shattered Lash, but also with Atlas's 4 augment, Rumbled, the rock throwing variant. I'll discuss them separately since they have very different functionality and mechanics. Landslide is basically a Khora's Whip that cannot slash, an AoE punch that gets bigger with consecutive hits with extra damage, but it has only base 5% crit and status. Incarnon melees can boost these up to 30% crit or status, and without them, Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds can only get Landslide to about 27% final crit and status. Dorrclave grants a massive plus 100% flat status after 10 kills with it, and as mentioned before, is not consumed on Landslide punches. Going from 27 to 127 status is almost 5 times more status procs, making it perfect for gas or heat inherent Landslide builds. And actually, you can even drop Weeping Wounds entirely since it's only giving 22% more status chance at 12 times combo. Emerald Shard Full Strip Atlas on Corrosive is not recommended because of slow status application to reach 14 stacks. Remember that Dorrclave caters towards status builds only, therefore our punchy Atlas Dorrclave has 3 options. You either go raw Corrosive, gas, or heat inherent. That determines what goes in this empty slot. Corrosive runs electric, gas would run heat, and heat inherent, well, you'd actually put a range mod here to build combo on Dorrclave faster and replace Prime Fever Strike with a single heat mod. If you're going raw Corrosive DPS, you can bring melee exposure, and this lets you mod viral to apply the status instead of Corrosive and sourcing all of your Corrosive DPS for melee exposure instead, which easily stacks a 240% Corrosive bonus from spamming Landslide. You don't even need a rank 5, since that only changes how much Corrosive you build per punch. We still use Blood Rush because Avenger only adds 45% flat crit. This brings us up to 77.5% crit chance at 12 times combo, with Gladiator Might Set bonus, while staying at 105% status always due to Dorrclave's passive. Attack speed lets us build combo faster and get kills to activate Rising Vendetta with Dorrclave. Luckily, Atlas punches count as melee combo hits to refresh duration, so you don't need to worry about rebuilding combo like Gara. For the Punchy showcase, I'm using the same Atlas build from my Ceramic Dagger and Karnon video from last year. For a full breakdown on Atlas Landslide builds, you can check out my videos at the top right covering Ceramic Dagger and Magistrate and Karnon stat sticks. Atlas's other Pseudo Exalt is the Rumbled Augment. Now, this is an old school Pseudo Exalt carrying rather unique mechanics. The TLDR is that Rumbled can activate and benefit from melee influence, however it only has base 12.5% status chance. Even with Weeping Wounds, this only reaches 67.5%. With Dorrclave's passive, this goes up to 167.5%. Rumbled hits do not build combo on Dorrclave, so you will want combo duration for it from Dexterity Arcanes. But how important is Dorrclave for Rumbled instead of a different melee? Compared to the Atlas showcase from a month ago, that one had about 120 kills a minute, or 120 kpm. Using Dorrclave instead pushed me to nearly 150 kpm. Yes, that much. Because Dorrclave also cuts down time spent trying to activate influence, having nearly 100% uptime. And if you want to play Rumbled Atlas, you can still copy the builds in that exact video at the top right, but just use the stat stick melee build shown next on Dorrclave instead, and this melee is freely farmable. Rumble does not use Dorrclave stats, but unlike other pseudos, is treated as swinging Dorrclave itself when you use Rumbled's attacks. This means Rumbleds will consume Rising Vendetta stacks and cause you to lose the plus 100% flat status when depleted. However, Rumbled kills are also considered Dorrclave kills and can reactivate Rising Vendetta after 10 kills or assists. Because Rumbled also benefits from melee influence, it is easy to achieve 10 kills again with the 20-meter AoE electric procs. This means we obviously build Viral Electric for maximizing DPS and activating plus benefiting from melee influence. Rising Vendetta increases Rumbled's status chance at 12 times combo from 67.5 to 167.5, resulting in 2.5 times more electric procs for 2.5 times more DPS and 2.5 times higher chance of reactivating melee influence when it expires. This status bump is extremely important because Rumbled is dependent on melee influence to be viable in current melee meta. Unlike other pseudos, we include a primed Bane. Rumbled benefits from Banes, and is super important because while normal dots double dip this for 2.4 times more damage, proc spread via melee influence triple dip Banes for 3.72 times more damage. Condition Overload also applies to Rumbled attacks as well as the full 20-meter AoE from melee influence spread, which normally does not work for Pseudo Exalts. Hopefully today's information was helpful on showing how Dorrclave is much more useful than just being the best slash whip, since we know that, well, being just the best slash whip is good but not really enough for most players. Melee influence helps it out a lot, but again, slash isn't spread via influence, and Dorrclave is weaker than most weapons with condition overload, when considering AoE melee influence since it only has innate slash to count for unique status effects. This is the best budget stat stick for status Pseudo Exalts if you don't want to deal with ribbons. Otherwise, I'd advise wait until you can grind for Incarnon melees if you want to go the purple mod card route. Cheers! If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like or better yet subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always as soon as possible, like I've been doing with the Whispers in the Wall update. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. You don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? And that'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching and see you all next time.